back. We got to talk about recruiting here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show, a Hog Media production presented by Sleeper. That is Coop. I'm Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listen to while you're here. Please wipe your feet and like, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 stars if you're listening to us. If you don't think we deserve it, just give us 5 anyway and gift it. So, on today's episode of the Sooner or Later Sports Show, me and Coop got a few fun things to talk about, like a latest commitment. Got to get Coop's thoughts on it because we were kind of thinking it wasn't going to happen. We got to talk about this coming weekend because Future Freaks is going down, and the list is long. We've been keeping some in the cord, and it looks good. So, talk about that and some of the next prospects, and hopefully we get somebody else coming down the line very soon. Coop, happy Thursday, man. We're doing this a little off kilter as usual. What's going on?
Hey, man. Yeah, it does. It feels like I was logging into the studio and I was like, man, what do I need to do here? I got to plug this in and I got to find my Bluetooth. And, obviously life and travel with you, kind of been hitting it pretty hard here recently. But as always, as Tony Stark says, beginning of Iron Man 2, it's good to be back.
It is great to be back. And yeah, it's been a few weeks. I have one more big trip coming up mid-month around spring break. Both my kids are graduating high school and college. So I got a lot of crap going on. But after that, we'll be back up and running to our old ways of doing things. I think I'll disappear around Memorial Day. I'm gonna take probably 2 weeks off there, and then we'll be back to full speed June and July like we always are. So thank y'all for always pulling up. Thank you for supporting us. It is gonna be a fun. We're gonna have some fun today because Coop, I want to talk about it. I know that the biggest one, the big fish dropped, and we didn't get to really talk about it here. I did a video while I was down in Atlanta for work. And me and you didn't really get to talk heavy about it, but we landed Cooper Witten, man. I was wondering if it was going to happen, and we did. How you feel about it?
I mean, obviously, I've shared, in the past. My son's name is Witten Cooper. And so whenever you saw his name, 12 months ago, you saw this as it's cool that we're in the running for this. And, it's because of the relationship that, Jason and DeMarco have. And so that's why we're being mentioned. But, everybody knew that this was Tennessee all the way. And then it just continues to progress. And, all of a sudden you see like on the prediction, percentages, a little bit more OU. And then obviously the bombshell with Jason Witten being signed up as the tight ends coach, and everybody was like, all right, well, it's a done deal. He's coming here. I'm under the impression that part of the reason why they're both here is because they both had really good interest in being here. And that may be redundant or kind of of course, but I really do think that one of the big reasons why Jason Witten decided to leave Argyle, come up here, be the coach, take this type of a leap, has a lot to do with the fact that Cooper's interest in playing here as a linebacker under Brent Venables. Because, again, I don't know if you can have arguments that there's a better linebackers coach in the country, but you're still going against. It's like, is LeBron better than Jordan? I don't think so, but he's good enough to have that argument. Is Kobe? Is Kobe? But because nobody is saying is Jordan as good as LeBron. That's why that Jordan is the GOAT. So right. I digress. But coming back here is, this was great. There was a lot of people wondering, well, now that Jason's here, is Cooper going to come up, up north? I maybe place ball up here. He announced that he was going to stay down in Argyle. Obviously things can always change, but this is a big name. He is a big time linebacker. We haven't seen a lot of really literally top echelon linebackers committing to Coach Venables up to this point. He had Danny Stutzman Kip Lewis, Kobe, Omasigo, the Crimson Missile, Lewis Carter. Like you've had Marcus James. Like you've had all these guys who were just guys that you were going to were great bodies to work with, but you're going to have to do some coaching. And so some of the names that you're seeing in this 27 class, which is just off to its own great start, you're seeing that, now Cooper being in tow, like this is great. And the second Cooper in the class. So you know that your boy loves having two Coops in one class, which could
That
also
is the
be
funny part, is that I knew you were going to point that out. I don't know why you were pointing that out, but I knew you were going to point that out. I was like, Coop's going to get excited about the fact that there's two Coops in there.
Yeah.
Right, there's two Coopers. Got a few Coopers in here. I get it. I mean, you should. There's a reason
wonder
about it.
One of them's going to be on the offensive line. One of them's going to be a linebacker. So is it going to be confusing during scrimmages and drills when somebody yells Coop? And if I'm
hopefully
Witten,
go by last name.
Witten and Hackett. I don't know if they call Cooper Hackett Hack or something like that. But anyway, this is a great. I mean, listen, bar none. It does not matter if he came here because his dad's the coach. It does not matter if he came here because the great relationship with DeMarco Murray. Like this is a great get. And with some of the other names that are still on the board for linebacker, this could be a really, really just impressive linebacker crew in this 27 class.
So far for Oklahoma, we are number
2 last time
number 3 at number 2-4 rivals, and 247 has this class as the number 1 class right now. You can't beat that.
I think it's biased. I'll say this class has some really, really good capability. Like I think that it'd be a disappointment to not be a top 10 class, but you've got top 3, top 5 capabilities in this class. And we'll talk about it with the Future Freaks here in a few minutes. But I mean, you got great. You've got potentially setting up the best offensive line class Beatonbo's ever had, which to go against the Afalava Foje Fasusi class, that's a pretty cool statement. You've got Taven Epps and Cooper Witten at linebacker, which are 2 of your top 4 recruits. You've got a couple great skill set guys. Got the edge in the defensive line with Crew and Harmon. But you've just got some pretty stout stuff here. And I think Cooper will continue to elevate in the rankings throughout the year because they're starting their senior year practices right now. He's still going to have the senior film. He's still going to mature. And right now, I think they're pulling him up right on 6'2", 220. It's good. Cooper's film, obviously, it's great pedigree. That he's going to be football intelligent. That he is going to play with great skill set and great coaching. And so you match those things, and if the physical traits continue to grow, it's going to be a really, really great sign.
Yeah, every time I watch his tape, I get pretty excited. Kid's got game.
Yeah,
he has a lot of game. And this is Brent Venables' biggest pickup as
for sure.
Since he's been here at linebackers, he's been in Oklahoma. Now, I mean, no, that's nothing against a fan favorite in Kip Lewis. We love Kobe McKenzie as well. Nothing against them. This is the biggest pickup that Brent Venables has gotten since he's been here. He can play.
And I will say, this guy's in, a Hall of Fame level guy. But Cooper reminds me of Brian Urlacher. Brian Urlacher had the tight end, again, in mock drafts going into the NFL, Urlacher was being shown as a potential tight end / linebacker. And I remember as a Broncos fan, a lot of people had him going to Denver, and I was super excited about it. And so when I watch him again, that Jason Witten was a a guy that was very, very keen on technique. He was very, very keen on, coaching and doing the right thing, like doing the small things correct. And that's what I see in Coop here is he will do the small things correct. I think that when, you've got, well, we've talked about this a lot with, the recruiting, interviews, but you now, as any type of defensive recruit coming in here now, you're not hoping that you can be the guy that helps turn the defense around. Now you're the guy that has to maintain what's going on at Oklahoma on the defensive side of the ball. And to follow guys like Danny Stutzman, Owen Heineke, Kip Lewis, that's a tall task. I mean, maybe even starting off with Deshaun White. Like, I know he played linebacker and more of the cheetah role, but since Brent Venables been here, he has really turned this linebacking room around. And we all know that it's not an easy task to play linebacker for Brent Venables.
It isn't. It's work, and for that, and that's what makes the defense so good. Not anybody can do it. And it makes it hard also in finding the bodies that can actually achieve what you want to achieve. But no, I'm excited at the fact that we were able to close on the kid. Like I talked about it in the video I did when he committed. The one thing that I wondered was, how he felt about his dad being here, and if he wanted to forge his own, blaze his own trail. That's a common thing with some players. Like, some like the idea of playing for their pops, but he's already playing for his pops. Others are like, I would like to do my own thing. It's just, that's what it is. They want to say that they got themselves there on their own, and not even though we don't, there's no concern there. There's a reason why his last name is not the reason why he's a top linebacker in the country, right? His last name is not the reason why he's a top 5 linebacker in high school ball at all. If he was a tight end, sure, I'd have question. Like, Witten, future Hall of Fame dad, sure, it makes sense for you to be there. But it's not. He's a linebacker. He doesn't even play the same position his dad does. So I get why people say, no, I think he's legitimate on that. And that's what helps him, is that he didn't have to concern himself with that conversation. You're proving it. Every camp you go to, people see it. You're very highly regarded by teams and everything. So, yeah, you are legitimate where you are.
I think the only place where his name, because again, this is not an Arch Manning situation where you are, the god of all quarterbacks by the rating systems because your name, like, his name is going to help out a lot, Jay, in the recruiting aspects for this 27 class. Like, there's going to be a lot of people who have family members who are going to be able to say, oh my goodness, somebody said somebody's name is Competitive Depth College.
That's me.
I don't know who this is.
It's me.
Oh, it is you.
Yeah,
okay.
It's the other one.
You make me sad. You made me sad. I thought somebody was really going to run with this. But anyway, it's going to be like, you're going to have people who are going to be like, oh, hold on a second. Like, Jason Witten's there coaching now. You've got, his son's there. Like, he's one of the top linebackers. Like, his name's going to carry some weight on the recruiting trail when he is doing some peer recruiting. And so I think that that's the only place where his name was actually going to help out.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's fair. But besides that, though, it's going to be a massive, massive weekend because you bring in that commitment, and then you have the Future Freaks weekend to join. I ain't got a chance to even put together the list, but a team's been compiling it in the Discord from all of the posts from social media that kids have been putting on there. And so, we've got to get a little bit excited about all of that. Thank y'all for, of course, joining us here on this impromptu Thursday episode. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you like the audio version, you're an audio person, search for Sooner or Later Sports or Unfair Sports. Both feeds now have this, the audio going into both feeds, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, whatever you use, we're there. And make sure you rate, review, give us 5 stars so people know. So RDS. Yeah, I think that's funny. This jump in the water. It appears that, the spring practice is everybody's mind feeling like the soon to come spring practice, the winter workouts, has got people pretty bullish about what Oklahoma can be this year. I love this Texas revenge tour. It's funny. Curious is Witten only ranked high due to his name. He's not a tight end. So, no, that's not how that works. The way it works is because Arch is a quarterback and all of his, uncles and grandfather was a quarterback. Arch was a wide receiver. Nobody would have said anything about Arch. I promise you that. That's why I had to worry about it for Witten. Witten's a linebacker. It's not a tight end. Two different roles. But no, the list is long, man. I haven't got a chance to we have it compiled. I haven't got a chance to really go through and show who's all going to be there. But I'll say this. The one that I'm watching the most right now, of course, is Jamison Roberts, the quarterback that we've been courting for a while. If we can get him to go ahead and commit, hey, man, that should domino affect everybody else in the class. And it's funny, now that we got Dylan McCullough in at running back coach, I'm not concerned about those two running back recruits, Stokes or Keldrick Ben. Like Micah Rhodes, I'm still kind of 50-50 with him, but I'm not concerned about the other guys right now whatsoever. Let's start on offense first.
I mean, Jay, hindsight is 50-50. So, but
fair point.
So yes, you're going to have a slew. I mean, it looks like almost all the guys that are currently committed are going to be in tow, for the future freaks, everybody from Cooper Hackett to Luke Wilson. But yeah, Jamison Roberts, you're going to have, Gus Corsair, which is another interior offensive line guy that is going to, is a big priority. We recently saw that, one of our other top offensive line targets, put out, I think it was his top 8 and we weren't in there and everybody was like, well, hold on a second, what's going on there? But there are so many different areas that you can kind of pivot with your Bill Beatonbow. You do need the interior. Gus Corsair, I think, is more of a center. Brian Swanson.
Really? You think Gus is more of a center?
I think so.
Why is that? I'm curious.
I mean, he's an interior guy. I think that I think that he is one of those. I mean, listen, we know that Bill's MO is going to be, where can you play?
Right.
And
yeah.
I think Corsair has that capability.
Positions. Yeah.
And he's got the capability of doing all of them. Obviously, like the difference between playing center and guard, it's not just, it's bigger than the difference of playing tackle and guard. So I think Corsair is a big option for the interior. I think he'd be center. He could be a guard. I mean, I think he's going to have a pretty good setup one way or the other.
Yeah, I was looking at him, just some of his tape or whatnot, and the way he moves. I could totally see. I see center. I could see possibility at center. Like you said, playing the interior positions, almost a little bit easier to transition from one to the other. The biggest thing is it's like doing stuff as a left-handed person and then doing stuff as a right-handed person. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where the challenges come in for some. Like I remember listening to NFL linemen talk about how every step is different on both sides of the ball. And so moving one guy from left to right ain't as simple as it seems. You would think, oh, just plug him over there. No, it's a completely different like dance routine. Just put it that way. It's like doing the waltz the opposite direction. It ain't easy. And some people got 15 or 16 left feet. That's just kind of just the life of humans, right? That's just the game as it is. But with that being said, if you are pushed into guard, usually it's because you ain't going to be a tackle at the NFL level. At the NFL, if an NFL player moves from tackle to guard, you can move from tackle to guard. You can't move from guard to tackle. It's kind of what I'm trying to think which Hall of Fame lineman said that. I know he was on like the Ryan Russillo show like a year or two ago. And I was like, oh, learn something new every day. But I digress. If Gus can show versatility on the interior, and snapping the ball is not as easy as it sounds either. But if he can do that, he just probably jumped up a lot of boards. At least heavily jumped up our board. I know we really want him, and right now it sounds like we're trending very well to possibly land him. So,
Yeah, another name that you definitely want to watch out for is a guy who's a borderline 5-star tight end, and somebody that I don't think that we were very. I mean, I think that there was some interest. I think it was like top 15 interest, not top 4 interest type of an option. But when you hire Jason Witten, he starts having those conversations, and that's Seneca Driver. That's another big one. I think that. It's going to be pretty funny if the situation arises that Jason Witten, before he's even coached an actual game, he's pulled some of the top end talent at the transfer portal, and then also with with the potential with the Seneca Driver than maybe Joe John Finley, his predecessor, did in multiple years. So I do think that that's a big one to watch. You got Tyson Ross, which is a recently offered offensive lineman, another big body. You're going to need to get offensive lineman Isaiah Coffrin, and there's so many of these guys that you're going to need to get in. And I don't know if you're going to take 5 offensive line or not, but with the current way that they're managing the recruiting classes and doing the development, I could see us taking 5 because it is easier to spend a little bit more money for these guys out of high school and these 4-star and high 3-star guys, get them in, figure out which ones are the ones that you need to do, process if necessary, continue to cultivate them, if that's what you're hoping for, then rather going and spending $800K in a portal every single year to catch a guy who might leave the next year, might want more money after that. And so, I want to see Bill Bedenbaugh do that because right now, I mean, I would say I wish we had a little bit more offensive line depth for this coming year.
Yeah.
It's not that we don't have bodies. It's the fact that, like, we've got a good starting line, but then you've got some rotational pieces. I think you're pretty set on 7 guys that you feel comfortable playing on the offensive line right now. And I think you need to be at probably 8 or 9.
We are, the big thing with this line is, the good thing is twofold. And as you mentioned, one, you don't want to go in the portal buying a lot of offensive linemen every year because if you don't have that kind of continuity, that's when you start to see the struggles.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we do have, I think we have pretty solid depth because we got a lot of players that's been in the system for some years, or at least working with Bill.
True.
Daniel Hopkins-Kumi should be healthier and ready to go. He's a redshirt sophomore. That's now he'll be a redshirt sophomore. So this will be his 3rd season going into this. They just moved Ace Hodges over to center to add some additional depth because freshmen Sean Hutton and Owen Heineke just weren't. I mean, Owen Hollenbeck just weren't at the Hollenbeck weren't at the physical capabilities yet to really run in that role today. Future, sure, but not today. But
not yet.
Adding a player like a Peyton Joseph, Fred Hitton, I love those 2 pickups, and Noah Best, and of course Deacon Schmidt. We only brought in 2 offensive linemen out of the class, so I could totally see this one being the bigger one to replenish because we're probably going to have some players we're going to have to start filtering off because this is the way that I feel like this team is going strategically when it comes to portal recruiting and all of that. It feels like the front office and this staff is giving all the players roughly 2.5 to 3 years.
I agree.
Once you hit that mark, you're probably not going to play. If you're not on the field yet, you're not going to play here. And that's honestly a fair shot for a lot of them. Get here, do something within the first 2 to 3 years, so you're out. Like, for example, Sammy Masigo. Sammy played every year he's been here. A lot of special teams, and then they were rotating him in at linebacker the last couple of years, and it just didn't work. So his senior year, he's got an opportunity to play somewhere else. Kobe McKenzie, same thing. Offensive line wise, you didn't get much help out of Sexton or Troy Everett gets hurt a second time, and it's
Taylor.
At that point, it makes sense to go ahead and make a move. Logan Howland. Yeah, exactly. As you go down the list of all the players, you realize, okay, they're giving them 2 years, 2.5 years to figure it out, or and make the cut. And if they don't, then boom. In which last season, we had to play freshmen because of injuries, and they ended up jumping out on the screen. And you're like, oh, okay, think we're good. Let's run with this setup. And so I think for this class, like I said, you got Kozar to go along with possibly Cooper Hackett as well as Caden Penny. You're going to look to want to grab, I think you may grab Tyler Ross. That'll probably be the 4 you'll grab. But the good thing is that you still got youth in Peyton Joseph, who will be a redshirt freshman this year. Caleb Nitta's a redshirt junior. And like I said, Fred Hinton's going to be a sophomore. So you still got some young players. Now we need to just see if they can execute on that. Line's going to be fun. Like I said, running backs, I'm not worried about. I see that Keldrick Ben as well as Jackson Stokes, so basically the 2 commits, are going to pull up. I think we're pretty safe with them, especially bringing in Dylan McCullough, and he's been working it. Sounds like these people know, these kids know him. They're like, yeah, I've talked to him before. I remember seeing him with Notre Dame, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty excited about playing for him, and that's a good thing.
And Jay, there's so much momentum right now, too, that you want to capitalize, because you just saw the NFL Combine, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, but you saw the Sooners show out. You saw some really, really freakish testing numbers from those Sooners. But then also Jaylen McCullough gets to boast the number 1 and number 2 running back in the draft. And Jeremiah Love goes out there. I mean, we all know that the NFL devalues running backs nowadays, right? You're not going to see.
Well, you can. That's kind of the problem. Is it's very easy to, because there's so many of them. There's skills positions are the one position that you have. There's way more supply than demand.
Yes, and
one injury, you find somebody else.
Yeah, you're willing to. I mean, look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, they missed the playoffs, right? There's a lot of reasons why, but they're still trotting out Kareem Hunt, and that's his, I think, 3rd tour in Kansas City, maybe the 2nd tour in Kansas City.
Third.
You know, he came out, and where did he? Was it Memphis or Tulane
Browns.
or where?
No, college.
College. I think it was Tulane. Somebody will check me on that one. But he
Toledo.
comes out. Toledo. Okay, so I knew it was like a MAC area deal, but so he comes out. He's still out there running the ball. I mean, we saw Frank Gore. I mean, Frank Gore was playing at 76 years old. Like he was out there, still doing these things. But Jeremiah Love is going to be the number 1 running back drafted, and a lot of people probably have him going in the 10-ish range. His running back mate, the number 2 guy, Washington kid out of Arkansas, the number 3 guy, but those top 2 things. So I don't think that, with Jaylen coming in, he obviously, there's a lot of conversation around that. I think that those conversations were probably going when they knew that DeMarco was kind of looking around, fielding those offers from multiple NFL teams. And so he's got the clout. He can point towards, I mean, look at the numbers and the teams, all the guys that he has coached. I mean, he has the names. And so he can also not only tweet out during the draft for all the Sooners going out, but those running backs from Notre Dame. So I think that that's going to be a really cool thing. You're going to have young guys still between Blaylock, X-Rob, Jonathan Hatton. Jimmy, thanks for pulling up, buddy. He is going to try to get more out of these running backs than we've seen, and a lot of it's been the rotations, a lot of it's been health, and so you just hope that when you're talking about Keldrick Ben, being a guy who you were, you lapped the whole damn field. He is an absolute. Just stud when it comes time to when it comes time to a guy who is a nobody and now is, what was he, numbered in the 60s or in the top 100 and in Rivals ratings. So that's good. You still push towards 28. Wide receiver wise, also coming in. We don't really have not anybody that I'm seeing here, because you've got Discern already committed. You got Trayvon Hall already committed. You've got a couple
But
of athletes
on that, on being, so ESPN hasn't given him a ratings yet, but 247 has him 222nd. Rivals has him at 86. So yeah, he's the
86.
fifth running back in the country in their eyes. He's jumped, and he's going to continue to jump. Like the talent. Like I joke about it, right? You know, sometimes we get the Oklahoma decrease, and we also get the Oklahoma bump. Both of them show up. Keep that in mind. And Jimmy, we're gonna talk spring ball. As soon as we get done talking recruiting, I'll answer your question first and really dive into what we're thinking to come once spring practices hit. Because the biggest thing we got to remember is, as you mentioned, Coop, not only rotations but injuries is something that we dealt with, and people had cleanup surgeries. That's what you do in the off season in sports. Is you're always underneath a knife. Sucks.
Yeah,
like it
but
sucks.
Jay, what we were basically talking about is the recruiting class, this visit, the future freaks. And this is the big piece is 2 years ago, you were justifying a poor season, 6-7. He went 6-7, he went 10-2, 6-7, 10-2. But you've seen the trajectory up. You can point towards the first 6-7 and say, I mean, we lost 70 people off the team. You can point to the second one and say, we had 60 injured, or whatever. And so now you've been able to show that you had that schedule that everybody said, Oklahoma may be good, but that schedule. And so now this year, you don't have so much of the negative recruiting. You just threw out a 10-2. You went to the playoffs. I think this year, instead of seeing the big recruiting bump toward, you just see an onslaught of commitments in May and June. I think we'll see a little bit more of it early. Cooper Witten, 100% a surprise. Our boy PGs thinks that, by mid-March, we're probably going to have 3 or 4 more. But I would say that we might get more fireworks prior to 4th of July than we usually do.
No, I agree with you on that. I think by the end of the month, we continue to add to this number 1 class. Like, this is the year that feels like they are loading up the most on.
Mm-hmm.
In prepper, well, one, you've got the momentum from, like you said, the playoff berth. That helps. 26, you were fighting all the negative recruiting of, everybody's going to be fired before you get there. You got past that now. Now it's you're actually talking more about what you're trying to do going forward. I guess that's the best way to say it. You're talking about the future stuff now because you're completely off the seat. You made the playoffs, now you need to just add to it. And you made the playoffs in a very unconventional way. You were dealing with still some injuries as well as, key injuries, and you're still able to win games because the defense continues to be better and better, in which the expectation is the defense will get even better this season, in my personal opinion. But the visits, that's offense that really jumps out. Like of course, you got the commits that's going to be there. So there's nobody really on the offense that's got me just outside of who we've talked about, like line and Jamison Roberts and running backs. Like wide receivers, I'll see. I mean, we've got Discern, who is a blazer, and I'm satisfied there. We'll add some more, and I think once we kind of figure out the landscape, especially when we get closer to OV season in June, then I'll be like, all right, that's what I'm ready for. But defense wise, though, Coop, there's a lot of good defensive players that's going to pull up, because why wouldn't you talk about defense when you're talking about, Brent Venables? Thank y'all for pulling up, of course. Please hit that like button if you are new to the channel. Subscribe if you listen to the audio version. We are on audio as well. So the audio people, if you want to see some visuals, come over to YouTube. Rate, review, give us those 5 stars so we can continue to move up the charts as one of the Oklahoma sports podcasts out there. Hey, man, we need to go ahead and lock up this Jaylen Scott stuff, dog. I don't know what we need to do. Whose pocket do we need to go raid? Get Jaylen Scott locked up, man. I like his game a lot.
You're at a point with the defensive backs that you get to pick and choose.
Really hitting there.
You know, when you show that, I mean, if you're a freshman or a sophomore and you're the best player, you're going to see the field. Like that makes a difference because, and let's just keep it a buck. Like if you are a young guy and you see that Brent Venables is rotating guys, like week 2 against Michigan, he's going to have rotations where like he might have a younger guy rotating in if he's earned that spot. Like that makes you feel that, okay, I can go and I can be awarded over guys who are good. Now, the people that Eli Bowen and Cortland Guillory took over for, partly injury, partly they're just better than them. So now you've got the talent in defensive back to where it's a little bit thicker. But Jaylen Scott is an absolute, must have for me. Goes along with Gabe Osborne Jr. too. Like you have a couple guys that Oklahoma would like Smosh Stanford. Like that's a guy that Oklahoma's probably not continuing much pursuit on because we've got a lot of guys that we really want. And that's tough to say because I mean he's in your fence. So but if you have not watched Jaylen Scott's tape, you need to because he's fun to watch.
He's a fun watch. And I some of the concern I've heard from some folks is, he was committed to Florida State, committed to Auburn, kind of jumped around. I mean, things change very quickly with how people keep getting hired and fired, as we've all noticed. So I kind of understand the hesitance. But I do like his game. And it sounds like him, as well as Jamison Roberts, who we all know they're very close friends together, that, let me see, Jamison Roberts has been getting like a ton of your predictions and stuff. Expectation is we're going to be bringing some of them Alabama boys to the state of Oklahoma. And I know Alabama fans are not happy. Auburn fans are not happy either. They don't like the idea that we're going to walk in, even though we still have an ownership stake in – we have an ownership stake in the state still after winning on the road against those teams. We still got that.
If you don't think that winning on the road and winning consistently against teams in a state matters, if you think that, oh man, you guys need to give it a relax, like calling Kip Lewis the mayor, you guys, no, you don't, because that's why we joined the SEC. It wasn't just the TV money. That's not just what it was. It was that area, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Florida, like that SEC country, Jay. That's where most of these cats are, ending up in college, being all conference players. They're going in the NFL draft. They're testing out the gym. You go and you do well there. And then you're like, I don't know what Alabama football is. I don't know what Auburn's going to be. Auburn's been the same for a long time since Cam Newton, and so people should know what they are. But it ain't Nick Saban's Alabama anymore. So you get an idea of maybe I want to go somewhere else. Maybe I want to go to a different team. And so that's why you see Scott and Jamison Roberts. I mean, these are guys that you do that. You can tell them, all right, listen, we're going to be going to Auburn. We're going to be going to Alabama during your tenure here. So you get to do a home game, obviously with NIL, like getting your folks and your family to come travel to Norman. Like we hang out with the parents every single weekend when we go to games. So we know that the parents are able to, travel a little bit more, freely, because even if the kids aren't sharing the money with them, they're not shelling out a bunch of money to help them live in college. So it's a little bit easier to go. So yeah. Those are two cats. I'm still with the Jamison Roberts. Like as soon as it pops, like I'm still going to be pretty excited about it because I think he's a fast riser. I think he's a guy could probably end up as a 4-star.
Same. But I think the other corner that really jumped out to me too is going to be Gabe Osborne. I would like that Oklahoma kid. I've always had the OK Prep agenda, and the reason, if for the uninitiated, my OK Prep agenda has always been big because when you get players like a Cooper Hackett, when you get a Caden Penny, and now a Gabriel Osborne. You got to do what you can to land players before them so that when they pop up, they're like guaranteed locks. You don't want to miss out on those guys. Those are players you want. You want to get the local talent to want to represent their state on top of getting some national players that, there's a bunch of them so they can move around. Nothing wrong with that. But I would like Gabe Osborne to be in this class, and I need somebody to go ahead and make that happen. I don't know who I need to call, but I would like him on our team.
I think it's coming. You got Gabe. You still got Juju Johnson also out of Long Beach, the LBC. A little bit of a smaller guy, but he's a guy that has been trending. We thought maybe a commitment was coming a couple months ago with him, but you get a couple of these guys, and is it 3? Is it 4? Like, how many defensive backs are you going to take? And I think that some of you look at a guy like Reggie Powers, obviously recruited as a safety, comes as a safety. Now he's been playing cheetah. He's shown really, really good. So if you have a body to where you can do a lot of, really, really unique things, you don't have to be 6'3", 210 to be a safety anymore. You can be a 6 foot, 200-pound guy. So you got a lot of these big guys, and Gabriel Osborne out of Mustang. That's right down the road, right? Juju out of Long Beach. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm pretty excited.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think we land Juju. I like Juju Johnson, but I don't think we do. So, you got Mikael McCurry at corner. You got Mikael Davis. You get Gabe Osborne. I think that's where you'd be solid at. The big thing with the roster is you just got Dakota Fields, who will be a sophomore next season. Actually, maybe a redshirt freshman. I got to see how many snaps he had, how many games he played in, actually.
I want to say he only played in a few. But, you also have...
The question is did he play in 4 games or not is really the bigger question.
You still have Darius Johnson, too, little brother to Derek Johnson, who's in this class also.
I forgot about Darius.
And he's a 4-star guy, too. Yeah.
Oh, see, that's one I missed. I did miss that. Is he slated to come visit this weekend?
I don't think he is.
Because I don't recall seeing his name on any of the sheets, but let me see. Let me go look at the offers real quick, and I'll also look up Dakota. So I think because Dakota, that's going to be the big question is if all right, there he is. Dakota Fields, defense. He only played in 3 games, so he'll be a redshirt freshman next season. So you'll have him, Derek Johnson, as your young guys. You got Prince Ijeoma as well, who's another young, and he's another 6'2", 6'3" corner, right? You've got a lot more size than I anticipated. So honestly, you may just stick to 3. 3 makes sense. Now the question is, if you're gonna grab one and then make them a cheetah. Like I did see, it was an article that was written recently where Trenton Blaylock was talking about BV looking at him at cheetah as well. It's just like, as you mentioned, because of his size and his stature, he could possibly play both. So move to nickel, play some cheetah. If he's physical enough, heck yeah, you'll add him because that's the one thing I know BV does. He'll have a big cheetah and a small cheetah. He wants one that's a towering player, and he also wants a cheetah that's going to be versatile like a nickel. But really, they're really to blitz, really to attack, like Devon Jordan did, like Reggie Powers did. You're going to mix that up. Green Lantern, no, that it's a combination of 27s, 28s, it's everything. It's junior day, so I thought it was only juniors, but I don't think it's only juniors.
Well, you've got June 1st, I think, is the weekend where Brent Venables football camp goes.
Yes.
And you'll see a lot of the younger guys. Yeah, that's when you'll see a lot of guys come in. Yeah.
That's typically offer weekend or whatnot. That's when you start hearing about 28s and 29s, actually 29s and 30s. Because I remember, was it Marcus? Gosh, what's that kid's last name? Samoan kid.
Fakatu.
Yes, him. I'll look him up. But he got his offer there. I remember seeing him at the camp. Me and PG was actually there, and we saw him at that camp. And dog, he was wrecking. We're like, oh, you're one that Oklahoma's going to put their hand in the dirt and go after. We'll see what it looks like, but yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast. Marcus Fakatau.
Watch your mouth.
So, yes, sir. He's Notre Dame's trending for him, but he's out of Sierra Canyon.
Yeah.
Another big weekend, but he's one that I know Oklahoma's going after the Cali Sooner deal, but I digress. The big thing is, like I said, this weekend is Future Freaks. Believe it's Junior Day. There may be more. I may be wrong, but yeah, we're gonna have the list is getting long, and it sounds like some of the insiders are even saying that this list is probably going to be longer than what we're saying. But no, I think it is all juniors. Actually, it is all juniors.
Yeah. So CK, Colin Kennedy there at 247. He says that there's some rumblings that there could be some surprises happening here too.
Yep. Go subscribe to 247. Go support CK. He always drops the goods. And yeah, if he's saying that, then I'm 100% locked in. Sign me up. I'm ready to see what surprises. I expect a surprise now if he's saying it.
Yeah. Case Alexander is probably another one that you're trying to get locked in. We do have a 28 kid.
We do Topher. Okay, thank you. We'll take it.
But
okay.
You've got even guys like Joseph Graves, as the Booker T, now IMG.
He's
probably not
now,
probably not trending to OU. I think OU went after different fish, but he'll be in town. So you've got a lot of guys who are going to come up. You're still in pretty good contention for some upper echelon guys too, but Jerry Outhouse was one that we were in for a long time. Now it's kind of looking like it's more of a trending towards Georgia. There was one other one, Joshua Dobson, 5-star corner, probably looking towards LSU. But there's so many different guys that still have not made a choice, and they've got some visits. You're hoping to get guys in here that want to come play, and they don't want to come in for negotiations. And so this class, if it's going to be a top 5 class, you just got to continue to layer in guys and get guys making the decisions, early, so that it's not, you're not sitting here in late September like sweating, when you're going to get your first linebacker, when you're going to get your first defensive lineman, stuff like that. So it looks like this is a pretty balanced class.
It's going to be a good one. And as our guy Topher points out, Keelan Hall is 2028. So yeah, there's going to be, I guess there is a 28 on a list. Got to go see. I got to go dig through. I know that we have, like I said, in our cord, we've got a bunch of from the players that have posted their public posts that they're going to be in town. We try to keep an archive of all of that. So going to be a good time. We're going to have a good Future Freaks weekend. I'm hoping, like I said, we get a couple commitments. Let's go ahead and knock that down and get that over with. All right. I want to talk a little bit of spring ball. We've been here about 50 minutes. So it's, like I say, it's a very impromptu Thursday night stream since I've been traveling like crazy. Travel next week, but should be back to our regularly scheduled programming in about 2 weeks. But no, we definitely appreciate that. Thank y'all for pulling up. Go ahead and hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 stars. That's a good question there, Sooner Cowboy. No, Jalen Brewster is not coming. And I would just take Jalen Brewster off your list. I sense, as talented as the kid is, he's probably gonna be um he doesn't feel like he's gonna be a painful recruitment.
I'm just gonna say, if Brewster came and OU really felt like they were going to do something and they upped their offer to Brewster, Texas Tech would just offer more.
They would. I put it to you this way: if Oklahoma gets back into the Brewster sweepstakes, my expectation would be it happens in November. And let me tell you why. If Oklahoma jumps into the Jalen Brewster sweepstakes and gets aggressive to where it looks like he's possibly trending here, David Stone and Jaden Jackson's headed to the NFL. That is the reason why you do it.
You're going to free up money because I promise you this. Retention dollars for David Stone and Jaden Jackson, if both those guys are going, because I mean, I want to play the 26th season before I do anything. George Toya. I want George Toya here because I want George Stoya to be bothered for the next 3 to 4 years by every time he hears that player's name. But
that'd be great.
I agree. I'm guessing that you're freeing up well over $1 million if both of those guys were to go to the league. You're going to have those conversations ongoing, trying to figure out what's going on. I think that if anybody would just pull something crazy and return, I could see, Jaden Jackson saying, "No, this is great. Like, I love this environment. I'm going to be here." I think Jaden is going to be more of a later first, early second round guy. But I think if Stone has just another incremental year, I mean, he's going to be looking at a top 10 pick, top 5 pick type of a draft status. And listen, as a Sooner fan, I would go to David and be like, "Good luck, man. I hope you don't go to Cleveland." That'd be my words for him.
Actually, I'd be like, man, if you go to Cleveland, all you're gonna do is get paid like Myles Garrett, so it doesn't matter. Just get used to losing. It ain't your fault. Yeah. Just get used to losing, but cash them checks.
Yeah, cash them checks. Get paid because
get paid.
Whatever turmoil-filled quarterback is available in the 28 draft, Cleveland's going to draft him.
Yeah, that's the bad part. It sucks. So. But no, yeah, it's if you go into the Jalen Brewster sweepstakes, you're definitely doing that because Stone and Jaden Jackson have decided to go pro. So that leaves you with Nigel Smith, Kenny Azawalu. You'll have Trent Wilson, Brian Harris, all those good players in that mix. But besides that component of it, though, time for spring ball talk. We know that's coming up. You've been seeing the workout videos. How many of y'all have been losing your mind because of them? Because I've been pretty excited over them. They've been dropping video after video after video of these dudes tearing it up. And we know that there's a reason why certain players are being popped on there on a regular basis.
Somebody I see a lot of is friend of the program, Nigel Smith.
I've been seeing a lot of him.
And I'm really hoping that that's indicative. Guys, I will promise you this. There is a next guy up mentality on that defensive line. Even though that Stone and Jaden are going to be the leaders because of how G-Baby did. Watching Dom Williams, who came in and really changed the way that we look at this defense. He was part of that mental change that we saw. He also had, like 30 reps on the bench. Great leadership, great interviewing, stuff like that. There's a spot, and it's who's up next? Like, who's going to be the next guy? Jokingly, it kind of reminds me of the movie The Other Guys with Wahlberg and Will Ferrell. The hands in high, or Samuel L. Jackson and The Rock jump off the building and die, and they're like,
Oh yeah.
There's a hole in the department.
Goes my hero. I love that.
Aim
scene,
for the bushes.
Aim for the bushes. I love that
So
scene. It's so stupid, but it's so great.
That whole movie is terrific. I might watch that tonight just because now I will be thinking about it. But there's a spot. There's a spot for a lot of different guys to come in and be those next guys up, those young guys, because don't get it twisted. Like I can promise you, Todd Bates is saying like, all right, who's going to be the next wave of guys coming through here? We saw G Baby, we saw Dom, we saw the other two who are still here. Like let's get after it, because there's a hole and there's an opening for you guys to come in here and be that next impact player. And so you're looking at this now. I mean, this is where your toughness. This is where you find out who our next set of leaders are. There's and I didn't even mention Marvin Jones Jr. or Mason Thomas. Just crazy to see 4 defensive linemen that are invited to the NFL Combine. So I'm interested to really see, does Nigel become that like high 4-star, flirted with 5-star status? Does he become that guy? Now he was a tweener, so you're kind of moving him inside. Kenny Ozawalu,
he's big now, but he's big now.
Yes,
like he's physically. When I looked at the number 290 is where he's listed at. I could see him if they decide that he's going to go straight interior, he's going to easily be 300 by the time the season starts. Or he may play 100%. At the G Baby size at 285, 290. And the technique is there. Like watching him work out, like I said, we pointed it out. Nigel Smith has been, the propaganda's been out there.
Yeah.
He is front and center as someone that they believe is probably going to make that next leap. And he has the opportunity now. Dom's gone, so is G Baby. So that interior needs another person. We know Kenny Ozawalu has been named like crazy of someone that's excelling in workouts. And they're like, oh, we're just impressed with his speed. We're impressed with his agility. We're impressed with his capabilities at his size and strength. He's got it. Nigel was dealing with, ankle stuff and some injuries, and now it looks healthy. He's probably going to be the one with him on that line. You may throw Kenny to the edge occasionally. Bring Nigel right out there. Boom.
Told you.
You're building, because you gotta have at least 3 deep on the defensive line. Period. Right. Bishop Thomas is going to see some run. He's going to have to be an interior guy. That's going to be able to be a space eater. You're probably going to push Trent Wilson to prepare to play dang near immediately. But yeah, you're going to have that interior looks scary. Looks as scary as it did last year. Like I love how Dom was such a good leader, that he really left an imprint, and I think that these players will just get even better from that. Period.
Well, and we don't mention Brian Harris. I think that he is a guy. We ain't got the freshman yet. Yeah. There's going to be some early season watching, because you don't get 3 cupcakes to start the year. Like you get to go. Is it UTEP first? Is that
you start
right?
UTEP.
UTEP and then UTEP and then Ann Arbor.
Yep.
So, and Michigan's got some offensive linemen. They had a younger offensive lineman 2 years ago. Last year, they rotated through a lot of different guys, but we threw them off their game, and that's why Underwood had such trouble, is because he had somebody in his face all the time. It was from the inside, it was from the outside, and he was always on the run. And if you want to walk into Ann Arbor and start the year how you hope, it's going to take more than Jaden Jackson and David Stone. You're going to need to see some impact from at least 2 other defensive interior guys.
Yeah, your goal is to maintain what we did last year, if not be slightly better. Or actually slightly worse. You'd be okay if it's just a little slight step back. You want to remain top 10 status, maybe 11. But I really think that the way that this interior is set up, man, we could, and now the secondary feels like it's really shored up. You have no excuse not maintaining that top 10, if not moving up a little bit higher. But and that's also happens with Brent Venables defenses. Like I'm gonna put together a video to go out this weekend, and probably a couple this week, coming up week while I'm traveling. Have some pre-stuff recorded on how the progression of Brent Venables defenses have been everywhere he's been at. You always see they take that step forward. They'll have an incremental year where they'll take a little bit of a step back, but you can tell it's because they're younger, and then boom, you jump up. Heck, Nagy mentioned how we lost a lot of players, but we also gained a lot of snaps this year. I went ahead, I got bored, and I pulled the numbers up. Video dropping tomorrow, just kind of a spoiler alert for you all. But I went through and I've done the calculations via PFF, and I'm gonna break it down for y'all. But over 10,000 snaps then showed up. Now they're not as young as he thinks they are, but we got 10,000 snaps coming in, right? Like the ones that have multiple years of experience. Let me give you a number. 4,000 snaps joins us with multiple years of experience. Junior, sophomore, freshman. That's big. That strategy to me, getting younger while adding just under half the snaps that you add, means that your goal is for a couple of years they to contribute and then possibly be able to make some real runs. And that also helps you for when you know your top dogs, like a Stone and a Jaden Jackson, if they want to go pro, because, hey, you get the call, you're a top 10 pick. Jackson, you're top 15 pick. There's a good chance both of y'all get drafted in top 15. You're like, oh, yeah, we out. We going to do it. You don't stay back. Get your butt out of here. Go make that bread and go represent this team, this school like you do. But you got to have players prepared to step up and play. And the good thing on the transfers, and if you've listened to me here over on Locked On, I'd say it all the time. The one thing I've noticed about this staff is they really like their recruits.
Yes.
And it's paid dividends last season. Majority of the roster is your players with a couple of additional fillers for depth components. Offense-wise, you don't have that because you don't have continuity on offense like you do on defense. Now you're getting a little bit more continuity. Ben Arbuckle's here. He'll probably be here at least 3 years. In that case, guess what? You're going to start seeing continuity there too. So that's something to be, of course, excited about going forward.
Just got to keep that thumb/wrist healthy. Progress by the offense. You know, he said it earlier. Our Texas friend here. I will continue to say it is going to be first and foremost. This team's ceiling will be dictated by what the offensive line can do.
Yep.
Then it's going to be on John Mateer seeing the field decision making. I think a lot of that's going to come with being able to rely on the teammates, rely on the weapons that you have. I think it was George Stoya was talking on one of the unofficial 40 podcasts that John had like such high. I mean, it was like something like 60 some odd % usage rate for the offense, and he was responsible for so many yards because we got so little. We rushed for less yardage in 25 than we did in 24 at 6 and 7. So we ran for less yards last year. So I do believe that what you need is John to be able to go, hey, man, you can trust these weapons. It's going to help him stay healthier. It's going to calm him down a little bit. And I do believe that in adding the guys that we've added in the portal, and hopefully with somebody, one of the younger guys stepping up and demanding playing time at the receiver point, the tight ends, the offensive line getting stronger, we want to see a more competent offense, because this defense we had this past year in 25 was really good, Jay, and still had a bad offense.
Still. All you need is a competent offense. We had a competent one. It just wasn't as good as we wanted it to be. And we were 1-10 games. Next season, all we got to do is do the exact same thing but continue to get better on O. Jimmy, this was a great question at the beginning. I didn't get a chance to answer this one, though. So do y'all think Jonathan Hatton will get the bulk of the carries this spring? I do. I actually think he will be him, Gabe Sawchuk, and Lloyd Avant, I think, are going to be your 3 running backs. Because you're going to want to make sure that not only X-Rob, Blaylock are both healthy. You also going to probably do the same thing with, like, probably Andy Bass, depending on how he goes. Because I know that he's been leveraged. He used to be leveraged as, like, the wildcat quarterback or the scrambling quarterback in drills in opponents. But, yeah, and that's the good thing. And I do think that Hatton sees a big bulk of the numbers. And, Marshall, you're 100% correct. John having healthy thumb. He looked good when he got healthy, right? Like, for him, the biggest thing is that he still didn't have a run game because both of his backs were still dealing with a lot of ailing injuries. They get better.
Yeah.
We should see an improvement. My expectation is there should be a dramatic improvement when it comes to this team. So, not upset. I'm excited about next year. Wide receiver, of course, we know who's going to be wide receivers. That's the question to me on the wide receiver side when it comes to spring practices. Which wide receiver is going to step up and be the 5th guy? Who's 5 and 6? Mm-hmm. Is Elijah Thomas ready? Is it Manny Choice? Does a freshman walk in and snatch somebody's chains? Because it's your Michael Carter. It's Isaiah Satania, Trell Harris, as well as Parker Livingstone. He is there definitely. That 4 is locked in. And I actually think Jermichael Carter may see more run than Parker, truth be told. Because Jermichael was looking really good in that Alabama game. Both Alabama games. You start to see him do really good in the flow of the offense. And, yeah, there's a good chance he may actually be the big sleeper on offense that ends up starting early.
We'll see, because I think that Trell and Satania are probably slotted in, and it's who deserves the most. I mean, Parker Livingston, he had a hell of a year, and that was getting a lot of dirt balls, and he broke free quite often, and he's got some speed to him. But I will say this, Jay, is I think that you're going to see one of these freshmen probably do something. Is it Jashir Rogers? Is it Pettit?
Daniel Odom is the one that, if there's a freshman will do it. I think
is another
one. Odom. I think he's the one that knows how to play in the flow of offenses right now.
And it's also, because what you're going to have to do is you can't cause issues, right? Is one of the big reasons why I think that you didn't see some of these younger guys last year is you saw who was it? It was one of the games where it may have been the Ole Miss game. I think it was the Ole Miss game, but we had like a crucial 3rd down, and somehow they did a shift lineup change, like a hockey lineup change, and they brought in Elijah and all these guys, and it just looked like dysfunctional. And that was just for the whole entire offense. So if it's going to be, one of these freshmen, what they're going to have to be able to do is, can you line up correctly on the first attempt? Can you block? And can you do what you're supposed to do? Can you do that? Because we do not want John out there needing to rely on you and getting hung out to dry because you ran a post instead of a curl. Like, you can't do those things. Or they throw a wide receiver tunnel screen to Trell or to Satania, and your guy just comes and lights them up. And we saw that. Listen, Deion Burks ran a 4.30. We all knew that sucker was fast. But one thing that he was not very good at was blocking out on the edge. There were a lot of plays to Satania that were wide open, and Burks got manhandled. So for him to bench that much, to jump that, be that explosive, that's a concentration thing. And so that's what you need to see out of these other guys. And Topher, you're right. JVD, he is Van Dorslier. He is a guy that you're going to want to pay attention to, because I think that there's a lot of options to be running that 2 tight end set and have one of the guys more of a blocking type of deal, and then one of the guys to be out there, for some of the short routes and kind of be an escape route for Mateer. This offense got better on paper. Now we need to see him be better on the field. And we'll get to see that, Jaylen.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, we'll get to see our first look on April 18th.
Yeah, it's April 18th. The fact that it looks like we do have an actual spring game, so that's the one thing that I'm pretty excited about, that they're bringing that back. I wonder, I don't think it, at this point, it ain't because of, I don't think it was because of the spring portal-ish. I think it's more of a, you got to play the young players to figure out what the heck you got. You got to see it in a situation that has stakes to it. You know what I mean?
45,000 people out there yelling and treating it like a game day experience, because you could do it on practice. We've heard that there's a lot of guys that were, just phenomenal practice bodies, did great stuff in the practice. We've talked a lot of the positive. I hope Elijah Thomas really just puts it together. It sounds like there might be a little bit of a knucklehead situation. So I'm hoping that everything goes more positive going forward, because I know the athleticism's there. You saw it on the special teams coverage this past year. So can he take advantage of it? Does he know the offense, and can he do the right thing consistently? Because, again, if they can't trust you to run out on the field and do the right thing, blocking, snap counts, lining up, all that stuff, they're not going to put you out there. They're going to find somebody else. Go for it.
You hear me say this often. The most important thing for a player, especially at wide receiver, is the flow of the offense. Tight ends, flow of the offense. When you're not the target, but you got a decoy, you got to block this guy a certain way. A lot of that running backs, all your skills guys that have to execute on that, that's critical. How do you play in the flow of the when? Yes, because and that's it's the thing that sucks from a fan perspective in viewing. If you've never sat down with a coach and had a conversation about how a play design is set up, most fans are ignorant to it, and it's nothing against them. It's just either you play or you weren't there. That you don't know. Like, there's certain plays where the quarterback is looking for everybody. There's certain plays where that player is supposed to be a decoy to drag certain other players away to get the ball to a particular person. And in those scenarios, sometimes those guys end up wide open, but they're not supposed to be looked at. And sometimes the defense can catch that decoy, and they'll go and be like, oh, shoot, we're not supposed to be following him, and they'll turn around and run off of him. You're like, why didn't he throw it to this person? Well, throwing it across your body all the way down the other side of the other hash, other numbers, it's not realistic. But that's kind of how they're designed. So if you can sell it, it's about selling that as a player, like I said, in the flow of that. And that's the one I need the wide receivers to definitely improve on. They improve on that, I think we're going to be good. So Van Dorselaer is a name. Definitely keep your eyes open and ears out for. I think, do they actually practice? On, I think it's the 20th or something like that? Later this month? Because I know they practice all the way up. I know camp is beginning now, and I think it's somebody had it up. But I think they start on the 9th. And I think the actual contact stuff starts later in the month as they lead right into the spring game. But the 9th is when there's the first on-field look. So that's next week.
Hey, we got a super chat, Habazinga.
Habazinga, what up?
$2. He always is good. Always good to show up.
Good for it. We appreciate it. Yeah, we did get Witten. We got him. We got Cooper Witten, baby. We're going to continue to grow from there on that class. But yes, Pete Nakos reported that it begins on next Monday.
I got a question for you, Jay.
Got an answer.
Is it a rumor or is it truth that you also possess the same outfit that SGA wore last night to the stadium? and you're going to be wearing that to at least one Sooner game when it gets cold.
I cannot confirm or deny any of that. My attorney says I shouldn't say anything.
Looks like a Build-A-Bear is trying to form around your body.
It's the best. I love SGA in his outfits, man. I know some people don't like. Him and Russ always crack me up. I just love that they're into that fashion stuff. It always cracks me up because it's always funny things that comes out of it. We get good jokes from it. But yeah, March 9th, practice starts next week. They'll have 15 practices during a 34-day window. 12 of them can be contact practices and 8 can include live tackling. That way you now know as the uninitiated. My expectation is later in the month, they practice all the way up till spring game, play spring game, and then from there, you may actually hear about us shopping in the portal. Remember, the portal's closed for entries, but there are a lot of players in there that Oklahoma could go after. So, all right, let's get on up out of here. Thank y'all for pulling up. Don't hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. We appreciate y'all joining us per the normal. And we'll be back on Sunday. We'll talk about Future Freaks weekend. You know there's going to be some commitments. We'll probably give you another primer heading into spring practice officially. And yeah, we'll talk soon to each and every one of y'all. What you got?
I was going to say, Stevie, 100%. Shout out women basketball team. You got they got a W today against Florida.
Ooh, I didn't see that.
We got
nice.
OU Texas on Saturday. And I know you folks don't want to hear this. But if somehow OU does that and then pulls some stuff in the tournament, just watch out. I know everybody wants Porter Moser gone. I know we've been having a conversation in the court about it, but the guys all of a sudden became hard to kill. I know there's a lot of jokes that 50 Cent gave the halftime speech, and they've been thumping the teams they've been playing. Now they're not as good. So you go lose to Texas, it's all for naught, and it doesn't matter anything. But you win at Texas, you get a couple wins there. But the non-football sports, if you're not checking the things out, the softball girls are they're on record for like 200 some on home runs.
Stupid. It's not even fair. It shouldn't be legal.
Kendall Wells, freshman catcher. We didn't get a lot out of that position last year, and I think she's already eclipsed what Emmerling had last year. So the basketball, gymnastics girls locked up the top. I mean, the other sports are just they're doing well right now. So if you're in for April 18th, Jay, I think that there is the spring game, and it's around 1. I think that there's a baseball game and a softball game that night, so you can go and spend your whole day. I think that's what I might be doing with daughter. Ooh. Is doing a little softball, and I want to say they play LSU in softball that night. But
baseball and softball the entire weekend. I did see a post about that. Baseball's on fire. Skip's out there cooking right now. They beat DBU. I love closing
midweek DBU.
They never beat midweek DBU. That has been an Achilles heel for a while. They beat midweek DBU. This team is different. It's special. I wish we had the Witherspoon brothers though. That would have been so much fun just for them to be able to experience all of this. But I digress.
Yeah,
baseball.
They're making money. It's all right.
Softball looks good. Baseball looks good. Yeah, we just need football to get football and basketball needs to get back on track. Women's is out there doing their thing. But like you said, there's a good chance Porter Moser finds a way, get himself. I told y'all this in the court too. Y'all didn't want to believe me. I literally said that. I was like, watch, as much as we want this done, that dude's going to find a way to make the tournament. And it looks like he's really on path to do that. All right, before I lose my mind on it, we're out. Talk to y'all later. Peace.